Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're back with GT Sport and we're back with a track guide for the new Daily Race C that is taking place this week at Sardegna A in the Group 1 cars. So for this lap I would advise using the Audi for qualifying. Now you're not going to use this car in the race because the hybrid at this track just cannot really regenerate fast enough. It's not the type of track that's going to really be particularly great in the race conditions. But in qualifying conditions, I'm going to show you a few little tricks to get a better lap with this car, because we'll actually use all its hybrid up before the end of one lap if you're too aggressive. So what I need to do is go through some quick pointers. I'm going to point these out as we get through to the start lap, showing you how to maximize the hybrid in terms of the start of your lap so that you don't use too much at the start, and also to maximise it all the way through the lap. Obviously we ran the brake bias 5 to the rear for this lap. It actually drives pretty nicely at this track as long as you get your braking done correctly. If you try and be too aggressive with the braking, yeah, you will probably have some issues with the way the car handles. But if you're nice and smooth, give yourself plenty of braking time and drive it sensibly, the 5 to the rear will actually generate nice hybrid and it'll be actually fairly comfortable to drive. So this is actually a really enjoyable track. Let's go through to the track guide, give you some pointers and try and get the best lap possible to help you out to start as high up that grid as possible. So starting your lap, you'll see that I'm riding the brake a little bit, making sure that I build up the hybrid, because I've gone for a lap before that failed and then the second lap bailed out of that lap. Now this lap, watch what we do. We keep our foot on the brake slightly now as we're accelerating. You see we've got a little bit of braking input until we're about 120 miles per hour. Then I release about 118 miles per hour. Then I release the brake and let a little bit of hybrid be used to accelerate us down the straight. Now this is important because you're not going to benefit massively by boosting out of that corner with full hybrid, but it's going to use too much of your hybrid up. Now what will happen here now as we go into the braking zone, using that orange bit of the railing on the right hand side as our brake reference, and we're going to get on the brakes, you know, just as we hit there, you can see down through the gears, down in second gear. What you'll see is the hybrid is going to regenerate pretty much to maximum as we come out this corner. You're going to see starting to put the turning inputs around about there. We want to get the car into the apex nice and early. We just about miss the apex, but that's okay because the camber of the corner means you can get on the power nice and early, accelerating out very aggressively. And again, try and get your steering inputs very straight, because this car will use the hybrid when it's in a straight line. If you're putting steering inputs in, it won't actually use the hybrid system, so try and remember that while you're driving it. Then we're looking for the next braking zone, which is just past the 50 board on the right. You're not going to brake before it, it's going to be just after it. You can see there, just putting our braking inputs in now, down into third gear, and we're going to kind of coast through this corner. You'll see a little bit of trail braking, no acceleration inputs, just a little dab there, and again a little dab before we put the braking inputs in here, just pretty much but before the start of that yellow board on the left hand side there. You can see a bit out of view, but yeah, you want to be just on the brakes a bit before then into this corner nice and early on the throttle, coming out of it, trying to make sure you hit the apex on that corner. Very important to be smooth all the way through that section. And now into the next braking zone, where again just past the 50 board, braking inputs going in, down into third gear. And this corner is very important to widen the line and get as close to this wall on the left hand side as possible and get on the throttle extremely early. The earlier you are on the throttle, you can see how I briefly go down to second gear before back into third gear, on the throttle nice and early and getting really good exit speed. That is so important. You can see we're way ahead of the ghost behind us, which I think was a 25.5. If I would have nailed this lap all the way to the end, we would have been on for a very low 25.3 or 25.2, I think. Now into the next braking zone, you see braking quite a bit before the 100 board on the right hand side. I like to brake a little bit early here, because if you brake too late, it really does mess your exit up, and you need the hybrid to be regenerating and into this corner nice and early, and then squaring it off so you can really get on the throttle nice and early and then let that hybrid loose. You always have to be considering the hybrid in this car. Now accelerating off all the way through here, completely flat out until we come through to this corner. Stay into the right hand side, a little bit of braking inputs going in there. You're going to aim this car right at that barrier. You've got to be very aggressive here to get the most out of your lap. You can see skimming that barrier, absolutely nailing that corner, did that really nicely, kept on the throttle all the way through the exit, and now into the final major braking zone, which is just again a little bit early before the 100 board. You don't want to brake on the 100 board because you will find the car unsettled, so a little bit early, down through the gears, and now you're going to start putting that turning inputs in here. And again, you want to square that car off to enable that hybrid to be used on the acceleration. You can see what we've got now is we've actually got enough hybrid to use to accelerate out of this corner. If you don't, what the problem with it is, if you use that hybrid up at the start of your lap, you won't have the hybrid here to boost yourself onto the final straight. You can see we actually had a little bit of hybrid left over, so we could have been a bit more aggressive on the use of the hybrid. It's all about judgment. Sometimes you won't judge it perfectly, sometimes you will. And we go over the line for a 1 minute 25.4, I believe that is. And you see, yeah, with the mistakes, we definitely should be able to get a low 25. I would expect by the end of the week, this lap will be pushing a 1 minute 24.9, maybe 1 minute 25.0 in the time trial leaderboard. But you can see, again, you can really see about emphasising the wider lines into the corners with this car, being very smooth in the braking zones. This corner is so important to make sure you get the car into the apex nice and early, and then let that hybrid loose. But yeah, really make sure that you don't waste your hybrid at the start of the lap with this car. Make sure you hold that brake very slightly, just so that you're not wasting your hybrid at the start of lap, which won't make much of a difference. You might go over the line 2 miles per hour faster or 1 miles per hour faster, but then you're going into the next braking zone a lot faster and you'll find it trickier. So the gains are better to be done at the end of the lap when you want the hybrid coming out of that corner, rather than going into the first corner with 1 miles per hour extra speed. You can really see this corner we absolutely nailed here. Got it wide, chucked it in, skimmed the apex on the throttle nice and early, and that was done pretty much as perfect as you can get. I nailed that one. But this was a little error here. You can see we ran a little bit too far wide onto that bit of curb, and that prevents the hybrid being used properly. One thing you want to do is try and square the car off and not use the hybrid on the curbs too much, because it will unsettle the car and it doesn't really get the benefit from the hybrid. So a little mistake on the final corner, maybe lost us a tenth or two. But yeah, there's definitely potential to get us down into a low 25. I'm sure we'll see 25 zeros by the end of the week, maybe 24 nines. With regards to the race, though, however, you're not going to use this Audi. This is 100% just a qualifying time trial guide. You will need to use this car for time trial. It is much faster over the 1 lap when you use the hybrid correctly, like I showed you. So obviously for this lap, we ran that brake bias all the way to the rear bias. That is going to generate more hybrid. Now, if you are struggling with the way the car is handling with 5 to the rear, some people will struggle. You might find it a little bit smoother, and it will still regenerate the hybrid with 3 to the rear. However, just bear in mind that this one lap of driving this very aggressively will use up pretty much all your hybrid, even with 5 to the rear. So if you run 3 to the rear, you might just about get away with it, and you might find it a bit more stable over the lap. It is just down to your own judgment of how you like the car to handle. I obviously found it pretty safe to drive with 5 to the rear. It's actually a very stable car, this one, using the 5 to the rear. That's why I do like it, and that is going to give you that little bit of extra hybrid over that single lap. But yeah, in race conditions, you are not going to use this car. It is 100% a time trial guide, this. In the race, you're going to be using the Toyota, the TSO50, I think it is, because of the fuel. Now, this race is running ×6 fuel consumption. I haven't had a chance to do this race because as I went in to do a race, we got disconnected from the servers and didn't actually get into the lobby. We joined it, but then it disconnected me. So unfortunately, I didn't have time to get that race done as I wanted to get this guide out. And yeah, everyone's was in the Toyota, though. I did notice that. So yeah, I'd already picked the Toyota. It's a better car on fuel. My guess is it might be a no. I don't really know if it's a no stopper or a fuel saving one stop. I haven't done the race yet. I'm sure I will do that tomorrow, and I'll give you a thorough guide of, maybe I'll do a comparison of fuel saving and pitting and changing tyres. I think that might be very slow though, or versus fuel saving and not changing tyres, and then versus not pitting at all. We could maybe do that for a separate guide and give you some analysis on it, and try it from different positions on the grid. Maybe that might be something that I'll do for a race guide that we can get out maybe either tomorrow or Wednesday, depending on time and stuff, because we've got FIA this week. But anyway, hope this guide helps you out. I'm going to let that lap play at full speed for you. Please hit that like button if you've enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section if the video has helped you out. And yeah, hit that notification button so you don't miss any future videos or streams in the future. Thanks again, everyone.